Hi everyone. As promised, I'm doing a quick recap of everything we did, and I'm also going to use RStudio plus ChatGPT at the same time so that you can also see how ChatGPT can help you write the code. If you have any error, how do you rectify it? And also, how do you create learning content if you have to teach it to students? So we are starting from scratch, as you can see. Let me clear my complete window. The very first thing I'll do is to go to my active working directory and make sure that my global superstore orders has been put there. So if you see on more, we select go to working directory and you can see that I have my global superstore orders Excel file. If you want to open this path, then I can simply come here and select show folder in new window. So the documents folder will open. Now this is the default. Unless you have changed your working directory to a different one, it will show it to you like this. And in this, we have our global superstore data, which is this one. I'll also save a copy on my desktop so we can also see what is in the data set. So we've already discussed it. We have 15 columns, 51,290 rows. So order date, ship date, customer name, city, state, country, region, market, category, segment, sales quantity, discount, profit. So we have date columns, we have text column, we have geography, and of course we have numbers as well. Now, assuming that you don't know how to load that Excel file, this is where we can use ChatGPT. Now, remember, this will work on the free version of ChatGPT as well. In fact, I'm going to work on the free version. Let us go to ChatGPT. Now, the first thing I will say is that I have a data set called Global Superstore orders.xlsx. Now remember, you must also tell it what is the name of the sheet, orders compact. So I will tell it my sheet name is orders compact. Now, if we only do this, then it doesn't know which language we are using. So I will have to tell it use R. Now, the moment I say use R, it tells me that there are two different libraries that I can use. I have read Excel, I have dplyr. Now, are these the only two libraries we can verify? I can say, are these the only two libraries? Now, it tells you that these are the common libraries, but there are others as well. We have Tidyverse, we have OpenXLSX. Now, I'm going to use OpenXLSX. I will tell you the reason why. Because for reading and writing Excel files, it is much more flexible than Read Excel, and it offers more control on formatting and writing back to the Excel if you want to create an output. So the first thing is I will install the package. So we simply say install.packages, open Excel SX. Once it is installed, we can also go to packages and you can see I have open Excel SX. Let's just search for it. Here we have open Excel SX, right? The next thing I want to do is I want to write library open Excel SX so that we can load it to use it right now. Same thing, you can put a tick mark or you can also write library open XLSX. Now that we have done it, now you notice I will tell it use open XLSX. That means in my first prompt, this one, we will just modify it So I'll say I have a data set. This is the sheet name. Use Open Excel SX to load it. So we tell it the file name, we tell it the sheet name, and then we ask it to tell us how to load it using this specific library. I will copy the code. Now you notice it says path to global, but we don't need to because our file is already in the default working directory. So I'm simply going to say the name of the file. We don't have to put the path. We will need the path in case the file was in a different directory. So I press enter. And as you can see, it shows me the first few rows. Remember, the default is the first 6 rows. The reason this is order dot date is because in my Excel, it said order space date, but you can't do that. So it will have to be order dot date. The next thing you will notice is that my order date and ship date are in a numeric format. So I will have to change it. So I will tell it, thanks. My order date is coming as a number, right? In fact, it should be order in capital O. Then we have D in capital D. I want to convert to a date. So now you can see it is telling you I can write this code to convert it. Let's have a look. If I copy it, come back, and I paste it, the data name, remember, is orders underscore data, correct? And the column name is order dot date. The dollar means we are selecting one column from the data. Now, when I press enter, you will notice head, that means first 6 values. It is correct, but the format is not what I want. I wanted day, month, year. So I'll have to go and say, thanks, I want DD, MMM, YYYY. So with this format, it gives me a slightly different code. Now we don't need to memorize it because ChatGPT can do it. But if I again copy it, come back and run it, now you notice this is exactly what we wanted. I will do the same thing with the ship date as well. So ship date. Let me check that. I'll say do same with ship dot date. Copy, come back, paste it. And you notice now the ship date is also like this. The other thing you can do is that after you have the entire code, right, like this, if I select all of it from the load part and I go back to ChatGPT, I can always paste the code and I can say format it properly, remove any, no, let's just say format it properly. So now you notice that because we have written the code in small pieces, it is now combining everything into one proper code, right? So I can copy it. We'll again clear the entire window. My package, remember, is already installed. So I can simply run it. And as you can see, now it works perfectly. But even this head part actually is not required. That was just to check whether the date was correctly coming or not. We don't need to do it. So if you notice, I can run the code, but we don't need to view the result. I just need to convert the ship date and the order date, right? Also see that these are comments which we discussed in the workshop, which start with a hash sign. So I'll press enter. And if I say view, and in view, I select my name, which is orders data. Now you can also view the data like this, exactly what it was like on the Excel file. Now we can make some visualization. So again, I'll come back to ChatGPT and I will say, my table is orders underscore date. Remember, it has to be the same uppercase, lowercase. So I will say orders date, create a pie chart to show sum of sales by the segment. There are three business segments that we have: consumer, corporate, home office. So as you can see, I also have to tell it I want this on R. So I will say I want this on R Studio. Now you notice it is asking you to install the package ggplot. Then you have to load the library. Then it simply tells you what to do. So if I take the entire thing and I come back, you will notice it is first installing ggplot. It is loading it. Now, if you get an error, for example, it says orders underscore date not found, right? You can see here, it was actually called, if I can just highlight it to you, order dot date. So that is the problem. Here, it did not know what it is called. Orders underscore date is the name of the table. Let me check that. Okay, let me just see the error once. It was actually called orders underscore data, right? So I'll just write it one more time. And we'll make sure it is orders underscore data. And I think that should solve the problem for me. Yeah, here you go. So as you can see, we have a pie chart. This is how you can keep on making different types of charts as well. If you want ideas as to what you can create, I can also come here, simply give it the first 5 rows. So I'll copy this. I will paste it in ChatGPT and I will say, I am working on our studio. I am a beginner. Give me ideas on what 10 charts I can create along with the code. Very simple. So we have given it a sample data. You can do this even in the free version. And as you can see, it gives me different ideas. So for example, the only thing is it says read.csv. It is assuming that I want to read one of my file, but I already have my file. So what I should actually do is I should tell it that these columns, the data is called, right, orders underscore data. If you see, the data is called orders underscore data, right? Let's do it one more time. So it gives me 10 different ideas. So this is the learning content that you're creating for a student. So here, I also have to use dplyr. So I'll just copy the entire thing, right? Let me make some space. Again, you notice we're able to get a chart. Very nice. Scatter plot, copy. Again, paste it, enter. Okay, now that did not work. No, it is working. As you can see, we have a scatter chart. Then you can obviously change the colors and things like that, and ChatGPT can help you with all of this. Now, I had mentioned this in the physical training as well. You obviously can't expect to learn everything in one day. People have been spending years learning all of this. But now with ChatGPT, as long as you have the commitment, you can actually do this, right? You can go one by one. And if you don't understand how something is working, I can always go and ask it to explain it to me. In fact, now if I copy the entire code, whatever I've written so far, like we did before, if I paste it and I say, please format it, look what happens. It will neatly format everything, right? With the comments in it, right? So if I can copy it one more time, right? I'm going to just paste it. Only this install package is not required because it's already installed, right? So in fact, I can tell it that my packages are already installed. So now the code is even smaller. Let's copy this, come back, right? And you notice it does everything that I asked for, right? One after the other. And if you see, I can click on the arrows to also see the different charts that it has created. And I can also export it as an image if I want to. Remember to save all of this. I can simply go to File and then Save As. So I can click on Save As. Okay, I'm not able to get that option. Just a moment. Okay, if I say Save All. Okay, I think it's taking a while to open. I'm not sure why the save is not working for me, but that you can try on your own, right? But this is the process, right? The other thing we were talking about was how do we work with the basic data types? There again, I told you earlier that ChatGPT, if you ask it, ask Studio, what are different types, right? Again, if you notice, it tells you, okay, now it is telling us about our Studio, but we want to talk about one is the data type. Here you can see we have numeric, integer, logical, complex, list, data frame, right? And if I make my question more specific, in R, we have vector, list, data frame, etc. Explain all of them. So very nicely, it tells you what is a vector along with an example. It tells you what is a list and it also tells you what is a data frame, right? See, these are the fundamentals. So you should definitely spend time reading it and practicing it properly. For example, if I take this one, the one with the numeric vector, copy it. I will come back. Simple. I'm creating a numeric vector with 1, 2, 3, 4. Apple, banana, cherries, character vector. True, false, true is the logical, the binary vector. Whenever you have a question, for example, you say, Havish, I don't know what the C refers to. That's the best part. You can ask ChatGPT to help you. You can just paste it and you can ask, what is the C? And it very nicely tells you that the C is nothing but combine or concatenate elements. So individual elements are being concatenated. All right. Now, if I go back and I run it, you will see in my environment, character vector. In fact, let me first clean everything. Let's do it one more time. You can see the environment has character, logical, and number. Now, let's take one of them. Let's take my numeric vector. And I can see 1, 2, 3, 4. On the numeric vector, if I want to do different types of examples, again, I can go back to ChatGPT and I can say, create 10 very simple problems, okay, on this to show adding element, extract element, etc. Like we had done earlier, I told you how to extract something, how to add something, right? So if you notice, it is very nicely creating different problems and solutions for you. So if I want to extract the first element, I can write numeric vector, and in bracket, I can write 1. So it gives me the first value. If I take numeric vector length, it basically gives me the last one, which is 4. If I want to add a value, then I can do comma 5. So it adds 1. So if I write numeric vector one more time, you can see now the list becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Similarly, if I want to add something in the beginning, not at the end, now you notice we're adding 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm not going to do all of these, but I just wanted to show you this is a great way of learning and also creating content that you can in turn teach to students. If you want to create a proper problem statement, I can say, thanks, create a problem statement and a case study around this, taking Tata Motors as an example. So now we are giving it better context. This is so nice. It says the case study is optimizing vehicle production, exploring ways to optimize vehicle production, and so on and so forth. And now you notice the tasks are there, right? And it is giving you the solution as well. Pretty good, right? Like this. So there we go. This is a quick recap. Obviously, there's a lot more that you can and you should do. But this is a good start. And remember, all the codes are available online. Now you can use AI. The main thing is to have fundamentals, to really understand what is it that you're doing. I also told you a tool called Claude, where if you write a R code, for example, let's say I'm writing an R code to clean data with at least 20 steps. I'm just creating a sample code. We'll wait for it to complete. I will copy it. If we come back to Claude and say, this is the code, create a diagram. Look what it does. On the free version of Claude, I can simply take my code and it will create a diagram for me. And this is so nice. Check this out. It makes the entire diagram. If I go to the code and I just copy the entire thing, there's a copy button here in the bottom right corner. So if I copy it, then I can go to a website called mermaid.live. I will paste my code here for the diagram. And if you see, we have this beautiful diagram like this that explains my entire code for me. This again is something I had illustrated in the training. This is a quick recap. All right, so I've shown you how there are different data types, how you can load your own file, how you can get problem statements, code solutions on ChatGPT, how you can also create a process and case studies. One thing we left out is what if there is an error? Let's take a simple example. Let's say that I have this, but accidentally I call it numeric without a C, right? No, in fact, let me change it here. There is no O. Now, when I press enter, of course, it will give me an error because there is no object called numeric underscore VECTR. So I can just copy the error, go back as we had done before. And you can see it can explain my code too. That's the best part, right? So it will explain it and solve it, both of them. And it will work with any code error that you have because it has the ability of understanding all of this. So there we go, everyone. I hope all of you will watch the video and you will find it helpful. Yes, it is not very easy. It's not like working on an Excel file. One is that Excel is not a very difficult software. Also, you have been working on Excel for so many years. R, on the other hand, has a learning curve, and there are thousands of packages available as well. We have just got started, but I think this is something you should definitely look at. And before we wrap up, the final thing I would like to show you is I've also given it in my notes. There is a package called Swirl, which I've already installed. Now, Swirl is a great way of learning R in R. So when I say library Swirl, I'm loading it and I go to Swirl. You will notice that it's like a chatbot. It says, hi, I see that you have variables saved in the workspace. I recommend you clean up before starting Swirl. Let me do that. And I can do ls to see a list of variables, Swirl when I'm ready to begin. So I'll first give my name. I'll say I'm Havish. What do I want to do? I want to press 1 so that I can start learning R. So now it tells me what to do. So I have to do 5 plus 7. Right? Oh, I'm sorry. I have to say x 5 plus 7. Right? And this is fantastic. This is such a great way of learning R. Of course, there are many websites, many YouTube videos, but one more time, I would like to remind, focus on the fundamentals because ChatGPT can write the code for you, but you have to learn how to write the correct prompt, right? Excellent. That would be all from my side. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure meeting you for 3 sessions, and I hope to be in touch with all of you.